midst of this
beautiful day.
Beautiful
No,
day,
not like
and the coronavirus, which everybody's in fear about, and hopefully some things tonight, you'll learn some things that will help you with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about nutrition tonight, and I want to give you some, again, the purpose of these talks is to help you think a lot more deeply, clearly, and scientifically about health and how your body works. And so I'm going to start out with a story. It's this video that I watched about 6 months ago on YouTube, and it was about this cameraman and this sort of adventurer who was he was going to do this hunt with the Zulu tribe, and he wanted to document it. And so this cameraman and the guy that was the two people that were doing it were about 40 years old. They were not old. They were in good shape, healthy. And so they went on this hunt with this Zulu tribe, and they walked 10 miles in the heat of the day to find the game that they needed to find. They ended up killing 2 large African porcupines, which are the size of a large turkey. And then they butchered one of them and ate a little bit of the meat, cooked a little bit of the meat, and then they walked back 10 miles. And one of the things that I found very, very interesting about this video was that the 2 Americans that were there were having a lot of trouble keeping up with these Zulu bush people who lived out in the bush and thatched huts. And the Zulu chief was in his mid-70s, and he was having no problem walking this 10 miles at all. And one of the things that the guy that was documenting it said, he said they frequently had to stop and wait for us, and they drank half the water that we did. Okay, so you think now think about that. These 2 people were from a wealthy Western culture, have all the pharmaceuticals, all the conveniences that you could want, and yet they could not keep up. These primitive people who lived in the bush, basically hunter-gatherers. So what I'm saying is this, is that there's something about the way that we eat and the way that we take care of ourselves, you know, apart from all the pharmaceuticals and all the other stuff, that really does matter. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about tonight, among many things. So, I wonder if this has just stopped working altogether. Maybe it has.
New batteries?
No, batteries are fine.
There's sure a lot of peppers in that picture. It's one right through the middle. Look at all those peppers.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so the questions that I want to ask is this. I'm going to ask you guys this. Does a human body have the capacity to be well?
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's some people out there that I wonder if they actually believe that.
I mean, that's why the bodies were made.
We're
to be
made,
well.
yeah, we're made to be healthy, really.
Yeah.
We're created to be healthy.
Yeah, we're born healthy.
Does the body have the capacity to heal if it is not well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anybody ever cut themselves and, you know, watched it heal? So certainly, yeah. And you know, it's interesting, you cut yourself and it'll heal all by itself. You have to talk to it, guess you could, but you don't have to put anything on it, you know? It just heals on its own, okay? And so what exactly causes sickness and what exactly is health? And those are things we're going to talk about tonight in terms of nutrition. So, if we look at what I call the triad of health, okay? Triad of health is like a triangle, consists of 3 different sides. The base of it is structure neurological. If your structure and your nervous system aren't working right, you're not going to be healthy. You can't be. But then there's a spiritual, emotional aspect and the biochemical aspect. And all 3 of these have to be in balance for our bodies to work right. When they get out of balance, when any one of them gets out of balance, that's when sickness occurs. So let me give you a couple examples of how this could happen. So let's say you go to the chiropractor, you're getting adjusted, you're getting adjusted regularly, your nervous system is working pretty well. You have a really good diet, you know, you're eating the way that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, whole food diet, but you have a lot of bitterness towards one of your relatives. I mean, just really bitter towards, I mean, can you stay healthy like that?
No.
Not according to the Bible, you can't. Okay, you cannot stay up. I mean, it says it'll rot your bones. It'll cause osteoporosis. Okay, you cannot. I don't care how good you are with the other two. If you have a lot of anger and bitterness and resentment and emotional turmoil, you're just not. You can't be healthy. So let's say you're getting adjusted regularly. You're doing pretty good with that. You know, emotionally and spiritually, you're doing great. But you eat, you know, you have a diet that's extremely high in sugar and refined carbohydrates, you know, plus a little fast food on the side. Are you going to stay healthy?
No.
You're not. You can't. You're just not. So all three of these have to be in balance. And when they're out of balance, it ain't going to work. So today we're going to talk about the biochemical side of the triangle, which is nutrition. Now, this is one of the best analogies that I know about our healthcare system today is a dirty fish tank. So let's say you have a dirty fish, let's say you have a 10-gallon or 20-gallon fish tank that really needs cleaning. It's dirty. And you notice one day that, you know, you get up and there's a fish floating on top. And so you have 10 fish in there, one's already died. So what's the strategy? What's the strategy here to keep the fish healthy?
Clean the tank.
Yeah, isn't that obvious?
Yeah.
But not in our culture. In our culture, we medicate the fish. Okay?
By leaving all the algae in there,
Yeah.
it feeds the fish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't. In our culture, I mean, we don't clean the fish tank. We don't clean people's systems up. We medicate them. Okay, we medicate the fish. Okay, so we're going to talk about not medicating the fish. We're going to talk about cleaning the fish tank tonight. So, tell me why food is so important. What we eat is so important.
Because foods have different nutrients that your body needs to
Yeah.
keep it going.
That's right. That's certainly an issue, a huge issue. There's one that's even a little deeper than that. I want to see if you guys can get it. What is food? What is food actually?
It's nutrients.
It's nutrients. It is that.
Minerals,
You're right.
minerals, vitamins.
Energy.
It's energy.
Energy. You're
Sugar.
starting to get close.
Fuel.
Fuel. Yeah, it's that. It's all of that.
We're touching it, going all around.
You're going to
it,
have
huh?
to tell us.
That's why we come here.
Food is information.
Information.
It's information.
Oh.
That's really what it is, okay? Good information or bad information. So what's it informing? So if I say food is informing, it's information, which means it's informing something. What is it informing? What's it telling? What's it informing something to do? Does anybody have any ideas on that?
You mean like when you're consuming it?
Yeah. If you're consuming food, and food is information to your body, it's
So
giving
the food is
information.
probably telling you if it's good or not. So like when it goes through your body and it breaks it down, it's going to tell you if it's good or bad. Because if it's bad, it's not going to break it down like it should. And if it's good, it's going to go through all the places that it would distribute to keep your body going.
Okay. What is it actually though informing? If you're saying food is information and it's informing something in your body, what is it informing?
The cells,
That you're getting warm. You're getting warm.
DNA.
Oh, yes!
Really?
Good job.
Nice.
Yeah. It's actually
DNA.
talking to your genes. It's called epigenetics. Food, that's a great answer. I wish I had a prize for you.
Yeah.
That's the right answer, actually.
Yeah, gift
It's
card.
talking to your, literally talking to your DNA. And it's telling genes, and here's the bottom line on what food does. It's information to tell bad genes to stay turned off, or it's information to turn bad genes on. That's essentially what food does. It does all the other things that you said. It does that. but it's telling the DNA how to work. That's what food does. There's a whole scientific field around that called epigenetics, okay? So food is information, talks to your genes. Now we're getting into what you were saying before. Food is broken down into vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. You know, if food is not supplying adequate vitamins and minerals, it affects DNA, and the outcome is bad health, all right? So vitamins are very complex substances. You've heard me say this before, vitamin C is not just ascorbic acid. It's a whole complex of things that have a variety of effects on the body, including your bone health, your thyroid health, your immune health, connective tissue. Vitamin C is involved in all of that. So they're involved in essential for human life and metabolism, growth and maintenance, and the vitamins are like sewn into the food themselves, or they're very integral parts of the food that we eat. All pharmaceuticals deplete vitamins and minerals from the body. And that's the primary way that they cause side effects. Okay, so broad spectrum antibiotics, for example, like amoxicillin, deplete all B vitamins, biotin, vitamin C, and vitamin K. Okay? Antacids.
And what do those vitamins do for you, just briefly?
Well, the B vitamins are essential for all your metabolic functions, your brain function, heart. Biotin, same thing. Vitamin C, I just told you. Vitamin K is very important for digestion and making a proper your natural antibiotics and tearing down food. It's in your gut, yeah. So that they're important for many functions in the body.
Yeah, isn't vitamin K also for like helps with blood clotting?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it does.
That's what I remember.
Antacids deplete essentially all your minerals. Okay.
Oh, gee.
So somebody that takes like something like Prilosec or Tums a lot,
Rolaids.
what is the downstream consequence of that? What do you think?
You're gonna have
Considering this.
mineral deficiencies. Yeah.
And yeah, but what would be the downstream consequence of that in your body? How about osteoporosis?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thyroid trouble, all kinds of
Yeah.
cancer maybe developing, yeah.
So there's a difference between real food and processed food. Foods that are processed have vital parts removed, lacking in nutrients. Now we have this idea that we, in our culture, we can eat bad and then fix it with a vitamin supplement. That doesn't work. That doesn't fly. Okay. It's more complex than that. 70% of the average American diet is processed food. 60% of the American diet is ultra-processed food, high in salt, sugar, and preservatives. And breakfast cereals, ultra-processed food include breakfast cereals, soft drinks, frozen dinners, canned soup, pizza, chips, boxed dinners, pasta, processed meats, and ice cream.
When you say pizza, if you make your own pizza, is that all right?
That's a lot better, that's for
Still,
sure.
is it still getting some of that?
Well, it depends on what you're using to make your own pizza with. You know, if you're you making everything from scratch, you can make pretty healthy pizza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So processed foods are toxic to human physiology. For example, skin tabs around the neck, as well as bronzing patches on the neck and face, are more common in patients who have a toxic diet. And that is common among, you see it with an overworked liver and with a lack of vitamin E complex. A study published in JMA Internal Medicine found that a 10% increase in the consumption of ultra-processed foods resulted in a 15% increase in mortality. So if you want to accelerate your death, your day of death, just eat ultra-processed foods. This is right out of the Journal of the American Medical Association. The British Medical Journal showed that if the proportion of ultra-processed food in the diet increased by 10%, the number of cancers detected increased by 12%. Okay? Now, am I saying that if you eat a little ultra-processed food that's going to ruin your health? No, you can handle a little bit of it, but not a lot. And these are two very prestigious journals that are saying that. Refined sugar is one of the biggest problems in processed food. 7 out of 10 Americans are overweight, and 1 in 4 have diabetes or pre-diabetes, maybe even higher than that now. So there's a real problem here. Research has shown that 40% of all health expenditures come down to eating too much sugar. 40% of all the money spent on health is overconsumption of sugar. So if people just cut down their sugar intake significantly, we could decrease the health bill in our culture by 40%. More than $1 trillion each year is spent on treating sugar and junk food related diseases, which runs the gamut from obesity and diabetes to heart disease and cancer. It's a lot.
Is that pretty much all like fast food restaurants, or all restaurants that have that ultra processed foods?
Well, you can get, some decent food in some restaurants.
Because like if you go like to say Laszlo's, you're probably not going to get like what McDonald's is making.
Right, it's better. You're going to get something better there for sure. Yeah. So sugar feeds cancer cells and has been connected with development of breast. All of these cancers. I won't name them all. The drain on antibody production to deal with these cancers depletes immune function.
What does that mean?
That means
Antibody, what's that?
antibodies are the things that our body creates to
Attacks.
fight disease. It attacks disease.
Cancer and all that.
Yeah. And so, antibodies actually, we can develop antibodies to our own tissue, which is called autoimmune disease, but your body makes antibodies to fight off foreign invaders. And so, when you have like a cancer and you're sloughing off cancer cells, your body reacts to that. And so cancer eventually becomes autoimmune, if you have it long enough. Yeah, all diseases, if you have them long enough, eventually end up becoming autoimmune. And so,
And food will switch that?
pardon me?
And food will switch that, or just to make it better, or you know what I'm
Better
saying?
diet.
Well,
Obviously, you're gonna
Yes.
help.
when you're asking if it'll switch that, what do you mean?
Well, I have Crohn's, so with eating right food, obviously it'd make it better. I understand that, and I eat more in that direction. But would it change it from being an autoimmune disease, or can the body overpower that in that sense?
Crohn's is primarily a reaction to certain foods in the diet. It's the
Can't eat
sort of the
gluten.
end effect of irritable bowel, down the long stream effect of
Leaky
that.
bowel, yeah.
And so, and you may have already investigated all of this. I don't know, but I would look at, like I do some food intolerance
Yeah, I have
testing.
looked into some.
Probably have. I would definitely do that. I would also, several weeks ago, I talked about stealth pathogens. Sometimes Crohn's can be the result of a stealth pathogen underlying low-grade viral or bacterial infection that just never goes away. So that's another thing you can investigate. But certainly, Crohn's is definitely linked to diet.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Greasy foods are really bad for Crohn's. I knew a couple guys in college that had that, and they couldn't eat greasy foods because it would affect them too bad.
Yeah, lots of different
So
foods
basically, a good
Yeah.
diet's going to help it.
help it a lot.
They
Sure.
didn't follow that rule, but I knew a little bit about it.
Who in college did?
Um,
I mean, when I was in college, nobody ate right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they knew
Pizza
about it,
Hut,
but they still didn't eat right.
Soda pop.
See, we didn't even know
beer.
about it in college. When I was in college, nobody even knew about nutrition then. I mean, we
No.
just didn't know.
Just ate whatever.
No.
and-
Yeah, eat
What
Captain
was it?
Crunch for breakfast. That's good. Why not? It tastes good.
Yeah.
So anyway, So refined sugar and grains, I'm just going to go through this pretty fast. They raise insulin, they cause insulin resistance, cause inflammation and weight gain. They elevated insulin decreases magnesium, resulting in high blood pressure and muscle spasms. And in men, elevated insulin, too much sugar, hastens the conversion of testosterone to estrogen, which causes weight gain, lowering energy, lower sex drive, and depression. So sugar is not a real great thing in our diet. The proper fats are important too. Now, our nervous system is made out of fat. You know, the brain is basically a 3-pound supercomputer made of fat, you know?
That was no good.
Yeah, and so, so we go on a low-fat diet, we're gonna do away with our nervous system. So, fat and cholesterol are actually pretty important in the diet. Essential fats, now omega-6 is essential, but it's more pro-inflammatory in most processed food. Very high in omega-6, high in trans fats, which raise cholesterol and triglycerides and inflammation. Your omega-3 fats lower inflammation. You get those from walnuts, flax, you know. Olive oil has some omega-3, not a lot, but some, and of course cold water fish. The kind of fat you eat is really, really important, okay? An imbalance in the omega-6, omega-3 ratio leads to inflammation. Inflammation is a cornerstone of all disease. Really, when you're looking at cooking oils, these are the 3 that I recommend: coconut oil, olive oil, or avocado oil. Those are the best oils that there are for cooking. What about French fries? They're cooked in trans fat, and a lot of this stuff ends up in the brain because the brain is made of fat. So it negatively affects brain structure and function. And it's associated with depression, trans fat. So, and this can actually be measured on blood tests. Avocado and olive oil are great sources of essential fatty acids. I recommend like the Mediterranean diet. It's high in fish, high in olive oil, low in dairy, high in whole fruits and vegetables, low in grain. It's low in sugar. And I recommend getting regular exercise. You know, try and eat red meat from pasteurized cows. Real butter is really good for you. High in the essential or the fat-soluble vitamins like A, has some D in it, has a lot of E in it. A, D, and E. You know, butter is really good. And eat organic
You
if
comment
possible.
on the greens because I mean I kind of okay. What are some grains that you can't eat and ones that you shouldn't because they turn into sugar? That's kind of what my thinking is right now. I'm just
Well, when the grains are refined, they turn into sugar.
okay.
And the ones that you can eat, it depends on, again, it depends on you, what you're tolerant to. I mean, some people are just super intolerant to most grains and wheat, and there's some people that can tolerate it a lot better. So it depends on, you know, what your tolerance is.
What are some ones that most people can tolerate, like quinoa or?
Quinoa would be good, yeah. You know, oatmeal works pretty good for a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, things like that. I'm trying to, rice, you know, a lot of people can tolerate rice, but not everybody can, you know. So those are some that would be pretty tolerable.
Thank you.
Fermented foods, really, really important in the diet. I listed some here. They infuse the GI tract with healthy probiotics. Fermented foods have a much more powerful effect on the GI tract than the probiotics that you can buy. And I recommend it. So the one of these that I eat a lot, I consume a lot of kombucha tea. I make it myself. I drink a lot of it. Non-sweetened yogurt works well. Sauerkraut, powerful fermented food.
Can you buy canned? Is that processed or what?
Canned sauerkraut?
Is that?
I would get the one in the jar in the refrigerated section in the grocery store.
Right.
That's going to be the best bet
Okay.
for you. And then I'm surprised he's not here tonight. I have a patient who makes his own sauerkraut. And he
It's
does a really
really
good
good,
job with it.
It's good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And then kimchi, which is an Asian dish, is very good for you too. Another fermented food. There's studies done on kombucha tea shows that it helps eliminate pathogenic microorganisms, including candida. It may contribute to optimal gut flora, may have liver protective effects, and may protect against prostate cancer. So I drink a lot of this. We make it. We have some brewing all the time at my house. I drink it all the time here.
You make it?
Yeah, you make kombucha tea. You can go online and it'll show you how to make it. You need a starter kit, and if you're really interested, I'll give you one. I'll make you a starter kit and give it to you. Okay. Now, what constitutes a superfood? Okay, we hear this thing called superfoods. Superfoods are readily available. They contain nutrients known to enhance longevity and have health benefits backed by science. The term superfood was coined in 2004 by Stephen Pratt, who authored this book called Superfood RX, 14 Foods That Will Change Your Life. Now, I looked at his superfood list. I didn't agree with all of them, but I'm going to list some here that I think are good, and you may have some others. This isn't like a definitive list, not the only list out there, but this is certainly some. So we have apple, avocado, broccoli, cinnamon, dark chocolate, wild-caught salmon. Who said yuck?
Go get something
I like
back
dark
there.
chocolate.
I like chocolate.
When it gets the kale, I'll go yuck.
Berries, garlic and onions, olive oil, tea, pomegranates, kale,
Yeah.
coconut oil, and then fermented vegetables. And there's others that are I probably left off here that you could put on. I've seen lots of different lists of superfoods. So, but this is not a bad list. It's pretty good. Okay.
Garlic and onion are bad for marriage, though. I would like to know.
Amen, brother. Got you there. Yeah, you need a king size bed. You sleep on different ends of it, or a different room. So here's some superfoods, some pictures of superfoods. Here's another superfood that I think is out there: sardines.
Oh,
Sardines
yeah.
are really good they're high in absorbable, utilizable calcium. Sardines are high in omega-3 fatty
36,
acids.
Yeah.
Are you talking about those little cans?
Yeah,
Sardines?
can of sardines.
Have
Yeah.
some of those at home.
Yeah, well, can I used to do it all the time.
Yeah, I need them though too. Huh?
Another thing that I want to talk about is regular exercise. These are all these are a lot of the benefits you get from exercise. Now, here's something I found fascinating with this coronavirus thing. In Chicago, they're saying you cannot go out and run. You'll be arrested.
What?
In Chicago. I'm serious.
Really?
But you can get in your car and you can go to the liquor store and stand in line and buy liquor.
And
Okay,
then
so
drive
that's
home
it.
Drinking it, yeah.
I mean, tell me how, exercise is one of the things that increases immunity. It increases your immune system. But not in Chicago, it doesn't. You get arrested if you
So the
exercise
mayor
it.
come up with that there?
Yeah, the
Really?
mayor of Chicago came up with that.
What?
What an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Okay, so let's talk about some testing that helps us understand, our nutrition. Comprehensive blood panel, which includes insulin, inflammation markers, vitamin D, is a great way to look at your status. We can actually do micronutrient testing, which looks at the whole range of vitamins, minerals, and fatty acids. And you do hair mineral analysis, which looks at toxic metals, mineral status, adrenal, thyroid, and carbohydrate metabolism. So these are all things that we can do to help understand your nutrient status. And this is really good scientific testing here. So that's all I have. I finished right on time. I would say this: if you have issues with nutrition, or people that are just, they're sick a lot, okay? They would be great candidates to have a blood test to look at some of these levels and find out, what are they deficient in? What do they need? A lot of times, when you give bodies what they need, then they can heal. Okay, bodies need the right nutrients. Now, that's different for all of us. You know, all of us are uniquely different. What I need, you may not need the same amount. You know, and certainly, you know, I don't need the same amount as like a female basketball player for, you know, the Los Angeles female basketball team. We're going to have different needs and nutrients. But these tests give us a great idea for that. And if you know people who are not healthy and just sick all the time, you know, maybe a simple nutrition test would be extremely valuable for them to help them understand what's going on with their health. And I've seen so many people, their health just turn around when they did some testing and found out what they needed, and you gave them the right nutrients. It can really, really make a difference. So, you know, have them call us. We'll do a consult with them and find out what their needs are and say, hey, this is what we'll do. And we'll go ahead and test you and find out what you really need, okay? And we'll fix that biochemical side of the triangle, as well as talking to them about their diets. Okay, any questions before we go?
I do, about that point that you made with the brain is mostly fat, you know, and I believe that too. The thing about it is, how does it lead to depression if you eat let's say a high-fat diet?
A high-fat
Oh,
diet's
how's that
fine. It's
affect-
got to be the right kind of fat. It leads to depression if you eat the wrong kind of fats, like trans fats, which you find in French
That's my
fries.
question, how do trans fats mess you up?
Because they're artificial.